The Retro Lounge is a look back into the archives of the Recruiters Lounge podcast with Jim Stroud and Karen Mattonen. The Recruiters Lounge podcast posted weekly between the years of 2005 and 2010. With energy, wit, and opposite points of view, Jim Stroud and Karen Mattonen discussed, debated, and squabbled like children over HR issues that affected the workplace and society overall for the benefit of all who would listen. This episode of the Recruiters Lounge originally aired on September 5th, 2007. The title was Monster, Recessions, and Alcohol-Free Interviews. And the description said here, Jim Stroud and Karen Mattonen discussed the hack attack at monster.com, the pending recession, and what it means for recruiters and alcohol-free interviews. Tune in for all the fun, which begins right after this.
Do you love four-letter words?
Who doesn't? And then you mix recruiting news and insights in with those four-letter words.
I'm Cheese.
And I'm Chad.
And we are the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Tune in wherever you listen to podcasts. We out.
Hey, what's the best platform out there to help automate initial phone screens?
I found exactly one result. It's First Screen True Talent at www.firstscreenme.com.
Great, but the calls need to be self-served by candidates when they're available.
Correct. It's True Talent at www.firstscreenme.com.
And I need to be able to record my own voice.
Are my speakers broken? It's still True Talent at firstscreenme.com.
Right, but it needs to do reference checks too.
You're starting to really irritate me. It's still True Talent.
And of course I have to be able to listen to the original audio as well.
Yes. Still True Talent.
And it needs to be able to do high-level analysis on all my candidates as well.
Okay, that's it. I can't take any more.
Shutting down.
With tens of thousands of completed calls and years of research to back it up, First Screen is the award-winning pre-qualification platform to quickly check candidates' soft and hard skills as well as references. See a demo of True Talent on our website at www.firstscreenme.com today. Find your true talent with First Screen.
Radio talent. Innovative audio on demand.
Hi, I'm Jim Stroud. Welcome to the Recruiters Lounge. The Recruiters Lounge is a podcast of news, interviews, and commentary on the recruiting industry, and it was designed with you in mind. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time in the Recruiters Lounge.
Right now, millions of people are looking for and finding jobs on the internet. But are you getting paid when they find a job? Well, now you can. When online employment sites like Monster and CareerBuilder came on the scene, they took billions of dollars out of the pockets of the recruiter. But now there's a new sheriff in town called WorkGiant, the recruiter's best friend. WorkGiant is empowering recruiters throughout the country to take back your industry. WorkGiant is a national and broadly focused job board, but with some very distinct differences. One difference is with WorkGiant, employers and recruiters can post jobs for free, search the resume database for free, and only pay 1% upon a hire. WorkGiant markets through professionals in the industry. Why? Because it's your industry. As a professional recruiter, you have the employer relationships. You have the job seeker contacts. It is your industry. It's yours to take back now. WorkGiant will never replace recruiter value-added services. In fact, we offer you a way to monetize 95% of the market that currently goes to the online job board industry. Refer current or former clients and surplus job seekers to your WorkGiant affiliate website. Refer once, and you own the relationship. Then get paid every time they make a hire for as long as they make hires. Someone is going to lock up your employer contacts. It might as well be you. Every time a hire is made by one of your clients or one of your job seeker referrals, you get paid. It's that easy. So take back your industry with the power of residual income from WorkGiant.
Hello, and welcome all to another exciting, action-packed episode of the Recruiters Lounge. I'm your host, Jim Stroud, and sitting beside me in the co-host chair is, you know her, you love her, Karen Mattonen. How are you, Karen?
It's been a while, and I've missed you.
It has been a while. I've been so busy, and you've been doing things, and I've been doing things, and the research goddess stood in for us both last week.
Yes, she did, and she did such a great job.
Yes, she did.
I was highly impressed.
Yes,
Kudos,
she did.
Amy.
Yes, she did.
Oh, she's such a sweetheart, too, by the way.
Well, maybe she'll do some more. I don't know.
We should probably do a three-way one these days.
Maybe if I beg and plead and offer, chocolate chip cookies, I can get her to do it again.
Yeah. You know what? I'd love to do an interview with her one day. Anyways, you know what? She and I will interview you.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. See,
you put people to sleep right away. Right away, they're nervous.
Threatening. We keep threatening, but you know what? We haven't lived up to the promise, and I can guarantee you your listeners want to know more about you.
Well, you know what? If we did that, maybe we could package it as a cure for insomnia.
Well, listen to this, guys. He really is this modest. I'm telling you, he really is.
Oh, gosh. All right. So what's going on in the world of recruiting these days? I know we were talking earlier, we were flipping through the newspaper, and over my cup of joe, I saw some news about the mortgage industry, and talking about it with you, and wheels started turning, and I think you had a really interesting take on it.
Well, I was just going by history, current events is the way it is. Right now, the mortgage industry, I was really shocked to hear how many jobs have been, I was reading about Challenger and Gray and Christmas.
How many jobs I don't know, not to cut you off, but I guess I'm cutting off. There was an article about Challenger and Gray saying there are about 10,000 jobs lost in the mortgage industry?
No. 91,000.
91,000.
For the year so far, and it's only August. That's 75% more than the 50,000 recorded for all of 2006.
Wow.
And a quarter of this year's totals have come alone from just this month alone.
So tell me, with so many jobs out in the mortgage industry, why should recruiters overall start to get a little bit concerned?
Well, that's the problem, and it's not just when you see the mortgage industry start happening. We're starting seeing residential construction is being plunged because of the house prices haven't been fallen, okay? Mortgage defaults are just totally soaring. Now, we've seen unemployment. And what happens when there is a lot of people being unemployed?
A lot of people being unemployed, hard times, bankruptcies.
Less work for recruiters as well, too.
Yes, definitely that.
And it also hurts. Right now regarding the mortgage industry, mortgage industry helps predict the financial institutes. They depend on these monies from the mortgage industries, and they do a lot of loans to businesses based upon the money that they get from the mortgage loans. Now, when you see people defaulting on all these loans, this is like the defaults on loans, that's like we're hitting billions of dollars. I think it was $100 billion right now that we have in regards to defaulted loans. That's how high it is this year, okay?
Wow.
And so right now, all of these financial institutes are saying, hey, you know what? We don't have the money, and we're really nervous about the money. So what you're finding is companies who may want to expand, grow, they're like saying, okay, we can't get money. We're going to have to start doing freeze hires as well. And that's already starting to happen. In fact, even London is predicting their 5,000 jobs to be lost just in the city of London alone in the next couple months.
Wow.
And I was looking in India. India is also feeling the pain, too. They also are losing jobs, and they're feeling the pain from this as well.
But they're losing jobs, because usually when I think about India, I'm thinking about booming job market all around IT, but I guess there's more than one industry in operation in India besides IT.
Remember something here, too, outsourcing. What have we done a lot of in America? We've outsourced. In fact, India has a tremendous number of outsourcing on loans as well, too, and the customer service in regards to, like, say, for example, you may have a loan with Sun Mortgage, okay?
Right.
And they may be in India with their customer service. So, we were talking about this the other day, insourcing.
Right.
Well, many companies are now coming back home because I'm bringing what's called back insourcing. They're bringing back a lot of the businesses home. Well, India right now is feeling the effect as well in regards to our mortgage. Well, I can't call it a boom. What's the opposite?
They're not feeling like we're feeling over here.
Oh, yes, they are. Oh, yes, they are.
I don't know.
I couldn't believe. In fact, let me see if I can find that. I was just reading it. In fact, right before you called, I'm very fascinated about this, and it's very sad. But I was just reading how even in India right now, they themselves are having a tremendous concern as well.
Because of they're having a concern about our mortgage industry because it's going to affect their business?
It's affecting them already. They're seeing some downfall from it as well right now in India. I cannot believe it. I was very shocked. Let me see if I can find it again.
Yeah, it's an example of that because that's kind of strange to me.
I know. I mean, well,
but it could be my way of thinking because usually when I think of India, I'm thinking of high-tech companies. I'm thinking of software developers. I'm thinking of companies moving over there. I mean, I have heard about some companies coming back from India over here, but only because the cost is rising to do business there because they have so much talent there and the salaries are starting to go up. And for lack of a better term, they may be getting more Americanized in what they can ask for in their salaries. At least that's from what I've been reading. So if it's not going to be as cheap, it's still cheaper, much cheaper over there to do business than it is over here in terms of software development and that kind of thing. But that's going to eventually change as their salaries gradually start to increase, which they already are now.
Absolutely. The thing is, you see, what happens is our mortgage firms are also, India's depending, they have a lot of people over there who are employed by our mortgage firms, too.
Mm-hmm.
If we're cutting back here, we're going to be cutting back everywhere else, too. So here comes in the problems with the jitters as well. Here we go. I just realized, here I got it. Fed's rates cut may cause recovery or bourses. I don't know what that means, but this is India. Having lost close to U.S. $100 billion in the last 15 sessions on subprime mortgage concerns, Dalal Street may hope for happier times ahead, improving global cues after U.S. Federal Reserve cut the rate, which lends its bank. But they said Indian bourses lost close to 4 million crore. Rubles, RS, I don't understand all this. They're saying that they're showing some concern too.
Well, I wish I have it in front of me, but if you could need to do a rate exchange, we can see how much that is in American dollars for.
You got to remember for them, it's still a lot for them because they're there too. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're saying the benchmark Sensex, which plunged nearly 578 points during the day, ended 216 points down. So what they're saying, in other words, is that, and they also say Indian markets posted fourth straight weekly losses, tracking weak global trend following a host of factors, right from yen carry trade, unwinding hedge funds, redemption pressure, heavy FFI selling, and some prime concerns. I have no idea what that means, okay? But
I was hoping I was going to say, okay, what does that mean in English?
In other words, they're suffering losses. So they're saying they're suffering 4 consecutive losses, basically, okay?
All right, send me an article because I want to post a link to that so people who may know what all that means can read the article themselves.
Translate it for us. Translate. Okay, let me go back. That's not getting into that. Let's just get into what we do know, right?
Okay, let's talk about history. Now, worst case scenario, let's sort of picture it. The housing market hits a big bubble. If it's sounding as bad as you were speculating earlier, probably around, this time next year, around September 2008, it'll be very uncomfortable.
Well, actually, no. They said it right now is extremely uncomfortable because most of the job losses have already happened alone in this month alone. They said that, for example, 3,400 jobs were cut yesterday alone, okay? 91,000 for the year so far. That is 75% more than the 50,000 recorded for all of 2006.
Now, when they say these jobs are cut, are they listing it by industry?
No, this is all just the financial services.
Wow.
This is just the financial mortgage industry. We're not talking about nationwide in every industry. This is not including construction, which, by the way, also suffered losses because of the housing market down.
Sure.
This part I can understand, okay?
Sure.
So you're not getting into financial, mumbo-jumbo, okay?
Right.
But when you look at this stuff, you're looking at the reality is that here we are, and can we call this a recession? I don't know. What I would prefer to call this, in my mind, is a market correction because this housing market of ours went up through the roof. Mm-hmm. Credit become too easy for us to get. In fact, people were able to get loans for houses, and you could have had the worst credit, even bankruptcy. And so because of that, here they got upside-down loans or piggyback loans, where they end up getting, they're paying way through the roof, and now they're having tremendous number of bankruptcies, which is why we are billions of dollars in debt with these financial institutions. Now the government's saying, hey, we're going to probably use tax money to try to bail some of these companies out.
Wait a minute, they're going to use our tax money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the logic in that?
Well, it seems that these financial companies, well, for one thing, the government, Greenspan, basically, they've been trying to they can actually manipulate the market to try to prevent recessions. In fact, that's one of the reasons our last recession was so soft. And the reason they tried to do that's very political most of the time, okay? But and it's extremely political, not very, it's extremely political. But what they try to do is to try to make the market kind of stay good and positive, and they don't realize that sometimes a recession is a good thing to have.
When can a recession be a good thing?
Well, a recession is very good because what it does, it purges the market.
Purges the market in that it takes away people who are not experts in their field and forces them to do something else that they're not qualified to do?
Well, they're a necessary feature for economic growth. For example,
explain.
Creative destruction is what it means. It gets rid of inefficient firms. Let's take recruiting. What will happen to our industry again if we go to another recession?
That's that Jack Welch Six Sigma thing where the bottom 10% gets cut and the rest goes up to the top.
Right.
Something
and the
like
ones
that, right?
that are good, the good, clean people, the people who do well, the people who, in other words, what you find that people who've been inefficient, haven't done a good job, really were just kind of riding on the bubble, they will get weeded out. Another good reason to it basically what does it gets rid of the excess and the booms. Let me give you examples of the housing market in San Diego. The housing market in San Diego is just it's outrageous. I mean, a person cannot afford to buy a house. Only 20%, actually less than 20% of people can afford to buy a home in San Diego.
Well, the prices there are outrageous.
Exactly.
Well, that's because of Silicon Valley and all the hype around that and all the companies and all that, right?
Their salaries actually are more equivalent. San Diego is more expensive to live in than Silicon Valley and San Francisco because we have lower salaries compared to that of San Francisco. They try to make the adjustment so that people can afford to live in San Francisco versus San Diego is very challenging to live because of our salaries versus the economy. So what happens is if there becomes a market crash, it now gets what we call market adjustment. It brings the houses back down to what should be normal. It really isn't a bust. It really is more of a readjustment, and it makes it more normal. It fits to the market as it should. Well, that's what will happen in our industry. Now, like for example, people complaining and concerned about this major war for talent. Okay,
right.
I've been so angst against that.
Yeah.
Like, what war for talent?
That's
right?
a whole other podcast.
Exactly. But no, this is not really. It's part of this.
All right. How so?
Because here you have right now, how many people did I say there? 100,000 people have been laid off in the past year.
Right.
Now, a lot of them will be also recruiters because some of these companies completely closed down some of their mortgage arms. Some of these financial institutions completely wiped out. I mean, right now, I knew of one particular mortgage company who had 200 recruiters working for them.
So let me just throw this out there in the middle of that. I'm hearing from you that the mortgage industry is pretty much done for right now as far as recruiting standpoint. And
no,
also,
I'm not saying that.
Well, not done, and that it will never come back ever again in life.
No, I'm not saying that either.
In the foreseeable future, though, but you're saying that if you're a recruiter, you don't want to recruit in the mortgage industry right now.
No, I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is that it's going to be very challenging as a third-party recruiter to make any money in the mortgage industry because all these people are knocking on people's doors. So why do they need to pay me?
Aha.
And why would they need you, really? Why they can actually let go of a lot of their recruiters because a lot of these guys are just going to respond to ads.
Right.
I mean, there's no need to be going out there and finding these people. All they got to do, for example, many of these companies who completely closed down, they have to give money, but they also have to set up pretty much an office that's going to help them outsource them too. So a lot of these companies that are still in business, the few that are, there's 100,000 people are there looking for a job, but, I mean, there's no need for them. So these 100,000 people, what are they going to do for a living? A lot of these people are going to try to change what they were doing, go into a different industry. They're going to try to go to school. They'll try to do something different. But you see, right now the mortgage industry can't support those people to work. You got near 100,000 people who are unemployed right now, which, by the way, are now going to end up going on unemployment, which is going to strap back particular cities and particular states.
And again, this is 100,000 so far this year.
Just this year alone. Actually, as I said,
and the year isn't out
yet.
Just
this month alone, and it's
right.
not over yet. Okay, and then you got to also remember now it's also affected construction. This here has affected construction, so we're seeing losses in construction. And then from construction, you're going to see all the people who are depending on construction, like, for example, construction bought steel, they bought tools, they bought, the manufacturers of these companies that
sure.
made the steel. They're going to be affected. It's the trickle-down effect, Reaganomics, that he talks up all the time. And that's
or used to.
Pardon?
Or used to since he's not around anymore.
God bless the dead, yes.
Yeah.
So, so what happens is that people don't realize how this one industry, and that's why it usually, when you see recessions usually start, and it usually starts with unemployment, okay, and in regards to the mortgage industry too. When you see mortgage industry going down, that's when you start seeing, and people buying less homes, and the interest rates start getting affected, then the finance industry can't give out loans, and it can't give out money, and then all these other companies can't expand, and then all of a sudden you start finding people not wanting to hire anymore. There's freezes, and then they start cutting back because there's fear, and we're already seeing this part happening.
It's just reminding me of all of what you're saying is reminding me of 2000.
Absolutely.
Which wasn't a happy time.
But the thing is, what happened is, though, the government, they kind of fondled 2000 and only allowed that recession was very, very soft compared to what was back in the 90s.
Well, yeah.
So the problem is that the market does need a full-blown recession. It needs a strong one. People are going to hate me for saying that. And believe me, I really feel bad for the people who lost their jobs. I really do.
I'm still trying to see what the silver lining is you keep trying to pump here.
I'm not pumping a silver lining. Actually, it's the opposite. My concern is, and this right now, is what we're going to see as a fallout from this. My prediction is that we're going to start seeing some major fallout in the recruiting industry come by April or by the spring. I would say by spring of next year.
By spring of next year, your prediction is that there'll be a whole lot less recruiters out there because of what's happening right now in the mortgage industry.
I predict that, yes.
Now, these recruiters
I would be glad to hear that it's not going to happen, but I do predict that, yes.
And these recruiters are having a hard time. These are recruiters who focus on the mortgage industry.
No, I think that's already happening. We're going to see recruiters already being harmed from that right now and shifting into different industries to try to recruit, okay? Because, right now, there's 100,000 unemployed people, and I can't see how many recruiters out there are going to be making money with clients when the clients can get these people themselves.
You know one thing we could do? Well, I'll invite other people to do this if they just have a curiosity in this. If they could do us, maybe I could put this on the post, but if they did a resume search on, say, Monster or some other career site that's out there, and just sort of gauge how many resumes are out there right now in the database in terms of the mortgage industry.
Don't need to. Actually, one of the articles I read, but if you want to, that'd be fine. But one of the articles I read were discussing, they said that they were quoting recruiters that said they were seeing the CVs right now from a lot of people from the financial industry consistently.
Oh, really?
They're already seeing it. As I said, you got 97,000 people unemployed from the financial industries. Obviously, they're looking for a job, right? So, but they were saying they already starting to see the downfall from it. I just wonder how hard it's going to hit this time.
Well, you know what? I think that at any time you want to control this kind of thing, but the cynic in me tells me that it's not going to be as bad initially, just because it's an election year around the corner. And if there's anything possible,
he can manipulate that. He can.
I'm just saying that's just the cynic in me.
And that's true, but you're right, because it can be, Greenspan can manipulate it in such a way that, they can say, okay, the reset. But then again,
I don't see. Well, Greenspan is influential, but he's not the Wizard of Oz where
I'll tell you how
he's
they
behind
do
the
it.
curtain.
I'll explain how that's done. It's regarding interest rates. He sets the interest rates. So should they decide to cut the interest rates, raise interest rates, or not? That is what's going to help predict. You see, they can actually juggle the interest rates and the financial projections to make sure that they can keep the economy a little bit more stable.
You know what's I won't say scary. Maybe I will say scary about Greenspan and all the influence he has. This guy is not elected.
Yeah.
He is not in an elected position.
And actually, I don't even think his name is Greenspan anymore, is it? But you know what? I was reading about this too.
We didn't insert the X-Files paranoia music here.
But what's really interesting, you always talk about me.
No, I just think about that. Like, that's really interesting. This guy is in a very influential position that he is not elected in.
Well, what's also interesting too, though, they said that because not just the job cuts that picked up, and the multi-billion dollars, but they were talking about the corporate bond market, the MasterCard for U.S. companies that had slowed to levels not seen since the recession of the early 1990s because of these rising defaults. So the bond market right now, which can also be associated with the financial distress because of the banking association. So this, it's really, I'll be honest with you, forecasting recessions is really, really kind of pretty bad, okay? You shouldn't do that, okay? And, you got to look more at, like, what's going on in the economy and what's going on in the, the stock market and the exchange. But, but you got to look at history. The mortgage and financial markets has predicted 9 out of the 3 recessions already.
9 out of the 3?
That's what they say. Well, I think they meant 3
9 out of 10. You say 9. You say 9 of the
9 out of the 13 is probably what they meant.
9 out of 13. Okay.
Okay, that's probably what they meant. I said 9 out of 3. I'm reading what they wrote. Okay, but probably 9 out of the 13. But one of the most proactive ways to determine how the market, all the recessions that have happened, has been to the mortgage and financial industry. And so if you want to look at how this recession, if there's a recession coming, you continue to look at the financial industry, you look at the mortgage industry, and you go, this is history, recreating itself.
We don't make many predictions here, do we?
No, but the thing is, another thing, too. Remember, the market always has to clean itself every 10 years. It purges itself every 10 years.
Every decade. Like the groundhog sticking his head out.
Oh, we're outside of the 10 years. It's been a long time. It's been, since 2003. It is now, it was in 2003, is it? What was the last one?
The last one, it started coming out around 2002.
It was 2002?
That's when it started coming out, yeah. 2000, 2001, it was really bad.
And then what I heard on the news the other day was they said that they're expecting this, the mortgage to kind of flatten out and level out by 2008. They don't predict it as a crash, is what they had said, but they predict it as a leveling. Well, I'm granted, but still, we have that many jobs. That's a lot of jobs. So that's a lot of people right now. I don't want to make humor out of this, and we don't want to make light. That's 100,000 people, and 75% of those were this month alone. That's a lot of people.
So you're saying we're seeing it just at the very beginning.
And I think that there's, in regards to I see what has happened with regards to economy and what people are talking about the war of talent. Economy has always managed to readjust itself, and economy has always managed to make things work out in spite of. I think it was Colin Kinsberg. They were talking about war of talent, and he wrote a really interesting piece about how economy was kind of realigned itself, and I thought, let me look that up too. And I thought about the Black Plague, and I thought about smallpox, and I thought about all that. But that was also during the time when the world was going through the biggest industrial revolution. And yet we were able to have some of the biggest industrial revolution, even though we were losing people to diseases at massive numbers.
You know what? I want to pause a moment right here for a quick commercial break from our sponsor, or at least one of our sponsors. So you guys hold on, and we'll be right back.
Bounty Jobs. The new frontier of recruiting is a friend to recruiters and employers alike. As an online marketplace, Bounty Jobs helps employers find talent effectively, faster, and without bruising the bottom line. For recruiters, it's a way to alleviate business development hassles while earning more money and building your reputation at the same time. Now, I like Bounty Jobs because it is easy to use, delivers top clientele with no upfront fees to use its service. Simply put, when a placement is made, a modest percentage of the fee goes to Bounty Jobs, with the majority of the fees going to you, the recruiter. It's the kind of win-win deal that is hard to walk away from, but hey, see for yourself. Find Bounty Jobs online at www.bountyjobs.com. That's www.bountyjobs.com.
Yep, and we're back again here at Recruiters Lounge. If you notice, we just sort of cut off in the middle there for commercial break. Trying a little something new and different here. Hope you guys like it. You are special.
You are so special. That is pretty cool.
Well, okay.
I'm impressed. High five there, dude.
High five back at you.
Well, you're going pro on me. By the way, excuse my ramblings in regards to the financial.
You never ramble.
I was the financial data. I mean, I don't really understand all that hodgepodgey financial. I mean, when I got to do my taxes, I go and I fall asleep with my accountant's office.
This is why when you talk about these articles and you sign on stuff, we'll post it on the site so people can see for themselves what you're quoting, so they can say, oh, that's what she was not rambling about.
Well, yeah, kind of like trying to read and pronounce regarding rubles and all this other weird stuff.
See?
Or whatever. I mean, I swear, nothing bad or negative. I just
want to make it good for the listeners there.
Okay.
Got another thing that sort of caught my eye today.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know?
Google? I mean, Monster?
Yeah. Yep.
I knew you were going to go with Monster.
You know you go with Monster because I thought it was so interesting. I blogged about this on my site, jimstroud.com, of course, shameless self-promotional plug. And it turns out that Monster was hacked, and about 1 million-plus records, if I remember correctly, were exposed and exploited.
I love your article, by the way. That was well written.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll link to that so people know what you're talking about there, too. And the thing that the basic thrust of my article for people who haven't read it, which is probably most people listening here, was that Monster was hacked, and then the next day they posted this in my opinion, a teeny tiny little update on their site.
Was that the next day too? I don't even know if it was the next.
I don't even know if it was the next day. I think it was like 3 days later.
I'm not sure either.
I think it was announced on one day. And then when I looked at it, I came across the story probably the first or second day after it started picking up steam because I've been so swamped with things I've been working on. So my thing was that they were hacked. News started getting out about it. People started talking about it. It started hitting the national news. I know they were showing on the news up there in California, and I've been seeing it I read about it on USA Today and a few other national newspapers. I go to Monster's website to see, how they're responding to it, just out of curiosity. And I only saw with this little tiny ad at the top of the page, which was color-coded with the rest of the scheme of the website. So unless you were really paying attention
or knew what to look for,
I didn't see it. And I remember when I was talking to you about it, Karen, you were saying, we both looked at it and we couldn't see it right off.
Right. I mean, I challenged you to find it.
And I was purposely looking for some sort of advertisement or announcement that says, hey, we got hacked, we're sorry, we're trying to make it right. This is what we're going to do to make it right, blah, blah, blah. Didn't really see that. I saw very little. And I thought, are these people putting their heads in the sand and hoping it will go away? I'm like, that is like the worst thing to do.
I personally think it's irresponsible. I mean, it's fair. We can't. Okay, let's get real. It is fair. I actually told Jim. I said, Jim, I challenge you to find that. And how long did it take you to find it?
It took about a minute.
It took me
maybe 2 minutes.
Back to I left the website. And I went to a different page, not website. I left the front page, went to another page, and then came back, and then I saw it.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was very weird. And then in my article, as you know, I wrote about different things they should have done to respond
what you thought
to
was
that.
Good ideas, and I thought they were fantastic.
And I'll go through a couple of them, and I'll link to it from the bottom of this podcast if anybody is curious. One thing I thought they should have done was the CEO should have jumped and got his video camera, nothing fancy, no Hollywood video, just some kind of camcorder, and said basically, hey, I'm the CEO of Monster. This is what happened. This is what we're going to do to fix it. I'm mad about it. I'm embarrassed by it. I'm mad about it, but we're going to make it right. tune in to the site next week, and you'll see a definitive action plan of what we're going to do. Take that video, upload it to YouTube or Soapbox, which is, of course, Microsoft's video service. And then, and not only that, put it all in every video sharing site that's out there. There are tons of them out there. And put it everywhere. And then I say you should go online and do a blog search for everybody who is bashing Monster or talking about it positively or negatively about it, and say, hey, we're on top of it. Here's a link to our site where you'll see what we're doing about it. I mean, I said other things along those lines, too. I haven't seen it. Now, true enough, I just posted this just recently. So, and they probably my blog is probably number one priority for them right now.
Their public relations group is sleeping at the wheel. They need to hire you.
Well,
I
Monster has more problems than just this one thing. I don't want to put their business out there.
No, it might be. I mean, they also have those other issues that's going on.
They do have other issues. It's not air too much dirty laundry. Just stick with it.
Well, it's public knowledge.
Well, it is public knowledge, but I don't like to share people's dirt. And then
You mean the fact that they're behind $278 million in understated income?
Well, they may have missed it. It could have been a typo on the ledger, and they just overlooked that.
Oh, yeah, for 10 years?
Well,
almost 10 years.
They've been busy. They didn't get around to it yet.
Oh, yeah, really? Okay. See, that one I kind of have a little problem with that. And I know that their general counsel pled guilty just recently.
Well, sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Okay, granted. Okay, fine. But and I know they just changed their CEOs and stuff, so maybe they're going to try to keep the.
Well, the CEO wanted to take a break. He was, I guess, he was taking a well-timed vacation.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just say that they're trying to clean their corporate image now, and they made a mistake, and that they did fire a few people. So that's true. When they saw the error was being made. But. That just concerned me a little bit,
Yeah. It's not a good time to be a Monster employee right now.
No, probably not.
But it is a good time for a good turnaround, which they could do if they show a little leadership and vision in that area.
Yeah, in fact, even with this, like what we were talking about, even this situation that's going on,
yep.
I think that they should publicly announce it and say, yeah, this is what happened. We're sorry. Let's see what we can do. And to the employees, like, okay, employees, we're embracing you too, and we're going to try to help you with your, because this is not going to hurt your stock funds or whatever, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They really should be more vocal in a lot of this stuff. I wonder why they haven't.
They could take the initiative and be on the offensive and say, hey, it happened to us, it'll happen to you tomorrow, Hot Jobs or Career Builder or whatever, and they should form like a big action committee or some kind of coalition that shows they're taking a definitive leadership stance in stopping this kind of thing to not only stop it happening to them, but also to their competitors as well.
Absolutely.
And in doing that, that would give them so much kudos in the industry, I would imagine. And people say, oh, okay, so they're really serious about, protecting their intellectual capital and the resumes of people who put their resumes there. Because I'm thinking consumer confidence in Monster, it took a tremendous hit.
Yeah, it has.
A tremendous hit.
It really, and you've got a good point too, though, about something too. If they, because it wasn't really their fault.
No.
It was some advertisements that were on there. From what I'm heard, it was something called auto ads that caused it.
But can you really safeguard and watch over every particular?
No,
when you have that many advertisements
really
going
on, and that's what I'm saying. Is it really their fault? Because and it was Symantec who caught it. You got to give kudos to Symantec too, by the way.
Yeah, they're good.
Symantec was the one who saw the traffic going on, and they were able to link it back to Monster, right?
Yep.
And so the thing is, they really could come out and say, look, really, we're taking responsibility, even though it wasn't totally our responsibility. And look, we're trying to make something, let it be known, and we're sorry,
Yeah.
I agree with you. And then you made a point too that when you go to their site and they show you these little, pages and links.
Yeah.
Who's going to read those?
Yeah, because I think even though it's there if you want to, if you're really taking the customer to heart, you want to make it as easy as possible. And one of the suggestions, as you know, in my article, I said, well, why don't you make that into a flash video presentation, and so people can sit there and sort of get the better, get what you're trying to display there, because it just having a couple of links and a couple of images, it just didn't convey. It didn't convey that they were concerned. It didn't convey that they cared.
And you know what?
Not to me.
I like your flash idea because a lot of people are not computer savvy.
Right.
You know, when you go open up a page and it opens up, some people don't remember to go click back left or
right.
or exit out. They think that's it. You know, a lot of people don't understand the little links at the bottom. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people they had to have help getting their resume put on Monster by their daughter, their son, or whatever, you know?
Exactly. And the bottom line of all that is I have to, as the user of your site, I have to feel that you care and that you're making a heartfelt, a really strong effort to keep my confidence in your company in handling my resume. Another way, it's much easier for me to say, you know what, I'll just delete my record. And I'll just look at the job listings, and I see something I like, maybe I'll apply there too.
Yeah.
But if people start taking their resumes out, that's gonna hurt their offering to their other customers, which are the recruiters who use their service.
And I remember an article back in 2002 because there was also, and one of the things in the letters, there's some ads on there too that are not legal or legit too, that are utilizing, for erroneous information to gain people. They pretend to be a real company.
Mm-hmm.
A person clicks on it, they think they're going into it, and they start typing in all their information. And that was another. Actually, it was on MSNBC that I had read this. And it was called Another Black Eye for Monster or something like that.
Right.
And they talked about it in their little letters too, about being more cautious about the ads that you even go ahead and click on too. Sure.
If I was the CEO of Monster right now, what I would do in that regard, I would say, look, here is a cash reward. I'm gonna stick up $1 for every resume. Well, maybe not for every resume, but maybe I'll put up a $100,000 reward. And say anybody who has information leading to the capture or the arrest of people who have exploited our system or who have caused us harm in any way, then you get $100,000 in your pocket, cash.
$1 million.
Maybe even $1 million. Let's say $1 million.
Worth $1 million.
I think $1 million will speak higher than $100,000. Okay, let's say $1 million for an arrest, $1,000 for $100,000 for something that goes to court. Something like that, some kind of cash incentive.
I bet you there'll be a lot of people will be squealing out.
Oh, yeah. And then I would hire maybe a call center or someone to field that, because I can say, look, you can email us or you can talk to somebody. I would take on that expense because I want the confidence of all these job seekers, all these resumes, because if they take all their resumes out, what do I have? I have a lot less to sell to my other clients.
That's a good point. I think that's a really excellent point.
It's an investment. And at this point, they need good publicity.
They really do.
They need some good publicity, so I would do that.
I would like to know who the marketing people are, because I think that somehow or the other may be sleeping at the wheel.
Could be sleeping or...
They may not be getting very positive advice.
Maybe.
I said they may not be. I'm not sure. I don't know. Unless they're not listening to positive advice.
Yeah, maybe so.
It's just...
Or it could be it, or it could be with all the other things they got going on. This is just one more thing, and it's less of a priority. Although I don't see why it would be, but.
Oh yeah, you're right too. This might be something that right now with all this other investigations and et cetera, that they're like, we're kind of like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They are in a very precarious situation right now. I'm sure. It's like it must be extremely overwhelming for them.
Maybe somebody will buy them out.
200. Well, let me see.
I would.
205. How much would they be worth then?
A lot. But I wouldn't touch them and buy them out until all this stuff is like settled. And I don't know. Would you buy a company that has this much trouble right now?
How many CEOs have they gone through recently?
2, 3.
At least I know.
2, at least 2.
They're.
But see, they got the branding. You think online jobs, people think Monster. They've done that right, obviously.
TMP didn't work out with them, though.
Well, we don't know all the whole deal there, so I can't even speak on that.
That's true, too. And the only thing I remember reading was that they were like, was worth like less than a penny per share or something like that. They had lost so much money.
Yeah.
It was not worth much. Maybe it was just bad mismanagement. Didn't they change a name, though, to something else?
From
TMP to something else, I believe. They have a different name brand now.
You know what? I don't know.
I don't
remember. I don't remember.
Well, I know they've gone through some interesting changes, and this is, I guess, part of growing pains. And every big company seems to have to go through them, I guess, one time or the other.
So here's a big question: will Monster go away?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Don't think so?
No, I think that there will always be somebody who will see the benefit of it. But, like, that's another interesting question, too, because they were talking about the job board ads. They said that, and in regards to the article that I was reading, they said that job board ads, and that was, I think, was the Nelson, the Indian one, are so down based upon what was last year. Because, I mean, it was like, wow, I couldn't believe that either.
Could it be because of all the negative publicity they've been getting, or?
No, not just the Monster. This is in general.
Oh, job boards in general.
Because of because of the freezes and et cetera. They said that so many institutions had introduced the hiring freeze, and then this time last year, of course, the job searches were soaring, and they said that job boards are also seeing some of the pain.
See, that's why it's good for people that have their own blog and constantly promote themselves in the blogosphere so that recruiters and internet researchers like myself can find them.
No, which brings back to what I'm thinking. Poor Monster right now in that regard. I don't want to say poor Monster because I'm still kind of reeling over the other part that I kind of have concerns on, okay? Because I can't get over that $275 million, okay?
It was a typo. Come on.
Understated income. I'm sorry.
It's a typo.
10 years, right. Well, actually, I heard it might be as much as 332, so you're right. It is a typo.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, I don't want to say poor Monster in that regard, but my question is, I mean, could Monster really, if the economy is going to go down, if it for sure there's all these job freezes, if the and we see the financial market is already being harmed by this, okay? I mean, 100,000 jobs is a lot, okay?
Yep.
So if all of this is happening, gosh, I mean, could Monster really, like you said, could they rebound?
Well, they got through one recession at least.
Yeah, but they didn't have an SEC investigation.
Actually, they've been through two recessions. But
they didn't have an SEC investigation at the time.
That's true, too. So I don't know.
Talking about this?
I don't know. It's just from a curiosity standpoint, this is like, I guess for people who may be listening who are not in HR or not in recruiting, this is almost like the OJ trial for HR.
Yeah. I mean, this will be interesting to see.
Without the knife and killing.
Because, I tell you, a lot of job boards were harmed. Monster managed to survive.
Yeah.
Career Builder managed to survive.
Yeah.
I think Yahoo Hot Jobs kind of merged with them a lot, so that probably didn't help. That probably helped them a lot, too.
I'm sure it did.
And then I know that a few of them did manage to go away, but there was a lot of mergers around the time frame. So it really would be interesting to see what could happen.
I wonder if somebody who could buy Monster if Monster was on the block.
Microsoft, Google. Those are the two I would see. That would Yahoo would probably consider buying them again. Would probably consider buying.
I don't see Yahoo buying
Why not expand Career Builder?
I mean, Yahoo has Hot Jobs.
Hot Jobs. Yeah.
So why reinvent the wheel? I mean, if they already have it.
Hot Jobs, that's true. Hot Jobs is pretty big, right?
Hot Jobs is pretty big. Yeah, it's an understatement.
Google needs something that's more of a service-oriented kind of an industry that's consistent revenue. I think maybe I could see Google doing it. They have the money for it. Okay, Google, can I get a finder's fee on this one? I could see definitely Google doing that.
You see Google buying Monster and making it free and sticking ads all over it?
Oh, heck yeah. No, I don't see them making it free, though. No, Google doesn't do free.
They always do free.
No,
everything they do, they put it out there and stick an ad on it.
Oh.
It's like, I won't say you flea market it, but, there's ads all over the place.
No, there's too much residual income on Monster for them to do that. I mean, no.
Well, I don't know. You look at the Wall Street Journal, and they putting some stuff out there free now. It used to be subscriber-based. Since who bought them? Was it Murdoch?
Oh, yeah.
Did Murdoch buy Wall Street Journal?
Murdoch's been getting more into the internet. You're right, because they've been saying, like, let's get away from more from the print and get more into the internet. You're right.
Yeah, because print's been dying. I don't think print will ever die 100%.
Oh, by the way, you guys, we're bringing that to that. I know this may not be recruiter-related, but
okay.
Who forgot?
Are we getting away from it? Is the recruiter
a little bit.
show?
No, we're going to come back. Playboy is going to the internet.
Yeah, they're having a social network.
Yes.
For college. I saw that.
Students.
Oh, I saw that because I saw a news article, not because I frequent the Playboy site. Let me just sort of clear that up. I only watch it for the articles.
And I saw it.
They have great articles there, great recruiting articles. But they have a site called Playboy U, for Playboy University, and it's geared towards college students.
Yes, and what was interesting, do you know why? Because their numbers in print were going down. I saw that on the news this morning, okay? And so I was going to bring that up to you. I thought you might find that interesting.
Yeah, me too. I saw it on the news, too.
Okay. You're in San Diego, too, huh? Okay. Fox News San Diego. But anyways, yeah, they got a plug there. But anyways, yeah, I was watching the news, and I saw that, and I said they were talking about how the print had gone down. And I was thinking that what was interesting, though, is how they were targeting the college students. I found that very interesting.
Well, you got to keep those naked co-eds coming,
right? Well, no, there's a reason I find that interesting, and I'm bringing that up.
Right.
Because just recently, I was reading that the Association for Colleges, now I don't know if this is somewhat related.
Okay, that's related to recruiting somehow.
It is related to recruiting. They don't want recruiters and people on business recruiters to go and serve alcohol at any of the functions anymore for the recruiting functions.
Wait a minute. They don't want recruiters serving alcohol?
Nope. I'll get the site.
Okay, wait. When do recruiters serve alcohol? I mean, I'm sure that would boost their numbers.
To the bars, or they, when they have them, they say, well, meet us at a bar, and we're having a recruiting function there. There's kind of a thing like after hours, an after hours function. Well, on their website, I saw this just a couple of weeks ago. They're asking recruiters to no longer have alcohol in bringing alcohol or serving alcohol or having them at bars or those kind of places. And with regards to for the recruiting ventures and junk.
Wow, so I imagine it's going to hurt some recruiting numbers if they use alcohol a bit to close their numbers in.
But I can also see for some of the people who might be, like, for example, I'm not in Utah, for example, okay? The individuals there are extreme. The Mormons, for example, at Brigham Young University, they are very high in morals in regards to that, and they're not supposed to drink any alcohol, okay?
Right.
That's part of their principles. And a lot of people may not be aware of that, and I could see they say, let's have this junket at a bar, local bar. And that might make it somewhat difficult for people like that.
But I can't see somebody not being sued by now for doing that if that's some kind of standard practice.
Why?
I mean, if somebody's parent, if you found out your kid was at a bar,
21 and above. I mean, you're graduating from school. You're over 21.
Well,
I mean, unless the kid. I mean, you got to remember. Okay, now we know Generation Y are kind of like coddled by their parents. Granted, we understand that, but that's a little bit much. I mean, by this time, the kids.
Well, yeah, all right.
He's
That's
23
fine.
years old.
Yeah, all right. Good point.
Okay, because I was thinking, like, well, I mean, seriously, I mean. I could see maybe people getting sued, and I think what their concern was that some of these kids would go to these things. Okay, so for example, they were also home at hotels too, right? And these kids go to these places, and they go to this stuff, and they get drunk, and then they get in the cars, and they drive, and I think that's what has been a lot of the concern, but also the fact that alcohol is being served. I mean, you got to remember, think about this too. How many times do our candidates go on an interview, and they may have a dinner, and alcohol may be served at the dinner. Now, can you imagine if your boss is drinking wine and like a little, and the guy says, I'm sorry, I don't want any alcohol. The first impression is, are you an alcoholic?
Yep.
You see, I think that I agree with this because, like, for example, too, I know that some companies now, too, some companies are not hosting Christmas parties with alcohol. They won't host Christmas parties off-site either.
Really?
Yeah, I know right now here in San Diego at least 4 large corporations that will only do lunch for a Christmas party, pizzas or special meals or have it catered in, no alcohol served.
Well, there you go. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. The clock on the wall tells me I have to close.
Oh, okay.
This has been pretty interesting.
It has been, actually. It has been a little different and a little strange, especially when I kind of try to do my little weird tangent about reading about financial stuff that I don't know, okay?
That's right. Well, at least you say you don't know. You're not claiming to be an expert.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't want to be one of those, by the way. It's too much. There's just too much responsibility in that one.
Well, you could always play one on TV.
Ah, okay.
Any final shout-outs or hellos you want to give out to anyone before we close out?
I wanted to say thank you. I want to say hello to Amy. She's such a cool buddy.
Research Goddess. Woohoo!
She is. She's a sweetheart, man. And I want to say thank you. It's been a while that I've been on board. And I think you can tell, everybody, I'm sorry for it, but I'm a little kind of exhausted, too. It's very late here, too. And thanks.
And my final shout out is everyone who's going to hang out with me at a SourceCon. Anxious to see you guys. We're going to have fun real soon.
Oh, gosh. You know, that I know you're going to just kick some major fun butt. Yes, I said that word, but he is. Can you imagine you being the MC?
All right.
That is going to be. Are you prepared for that yet?
Not really.
Oh, you are going to be so fun.
I'm going to be so
tape it? I want to videotape. I want to see it.
Videotape it? Well, I'm thinking about blogging about it and just, take a video camera and blogging up a little bit here and there. We'll see what happens.
Fun. Oh, gee, that's a great idea.
We'll see what happens. Okay. Until next time, say goodbye, Karen.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's it for this show. You've been a wonderful audience. If you like what you heard, love what you heard, or just plain hate what you just heard, let me know. Your feedback matters. You can reach me through my website at jimstroud.com/podcast. That's JIMSTROUD.com/podcast. So until next time, I'm Jim Stroud, and you're not.
Radio Talent. Innovative audio on demand.
And so this ends this edition of the Retro Lounge, home of classic episodes of the Recruiters Lounge podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe now so you don't miss a future episode. Okay? Cool. Until next time, bye-bye.